Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful idea that is totally reshaping education. It's called Universal Design for Learning, or UDL for short, and it's all about one big thing: creating classrooms that work for every single student, right from the get-go.
So to really get why UDL is such a game changer, we have to start with this question. Just think back for a second, to your own time in school. Did you ever have that feeling where the teacher is explaining something and you just don't get it, but everyone else seems to be nodding along? That feeling, that's the exact problem UDL was created to solve.
You see, for the longest time, education was built around this one-size-fits-all model. It was aimed at this imaginary average student that, let's be honest, doesn't actually exist. This is where this idea of learner variability comes in. The reality is, every single student brings a totally unique mix of interests, backgrounds, and abilities into the classroom. And a single rigid teaching method, it's just never going to work for everyone.
So how do we fix this? Well, the big idea, the solution, actually came from a completely different world: architecture and design.
And that idea is Universal Design for Learning. At its heart, it's a framework built on a really simple, but honestly profound principle. Instead of trying to fix lessons for students who are struggling, why don't we just design the lessons with flexibility and options for all learners from the very start?
And this is the perfect way to think about it. A wheelchair ramp, it's absolutely essential for someone in a wheelchair, right? But it's also super helpful for a parent with a stroller, or someone rolling a heavy suitcase, or even you after you've twisted your ankle. It's one feature that removes a major barrier for a few, but in the end, it makes the whole building easier to access for literally everyone. That is the core of universal design.
And you can see how this idea just grew and grew. It started with physical buildings back in the 80s. Then, in the 90s, this organization called CAST had a brilliant thought: hey, why can't we do this for learning too? And by the 2000s, the idea was so powerful that it's now literally written into major U.S. education policies.
Now, UDL isn't just a nice philosophy. It is grounded in real science. So let's take a look at how it connects to the way our brains are actually wired.
Okay, so researchers have pinpointed three key brain networks that are crucial for learning. First, you've got the affective networks. This is the why. It's all about what gets us fired up, engaged, and motivated. Second, the recognition networks. That's the what. This is how our brains take in information and start to make sense of it. And third, the strategic networks, the how. This is how we plan, organize our thoughts, and actually show what we know. The key thing is, every single learner uses these networks in their own unique way.
And this is where it all clicks into place. The entire UDL framework is built around three core principles, and each one is specifically designed to support one of those brain networks we just talked about. It's a perfect match.
I mean, look at this. It shows just how big of a mind shift this is. The old way was teaching to that mythical average student and then scrambling to help kids who fell behind. UDL just flips that script completely. It's about proactively knocking down barriers and building in flexible choices from day one. It's a total switch from being reactive to being proactive.
So what are these three big principles? They are providing multiple means of engagement, representation, and action and expression. Let's break down what each of those actually looks like in a real classroom.
All right, first up is engagement. This is the why of learning. It's all about lighting that fire in the affective networks. It's about tapping into what kids actually care about. So instead of one standard project for everyone, maybe students can choose between writing an essay, creating a podcast, or designing a website. Or maybe everyone does a research paper, but they get to pick a topic that they are personally obsessed with. This gives them a sense of control and purpose, and it makes the learning feel relevant and, actually empowering.
Next, we have representation, the what of learning. This one is all about supporting those recognition networks. Look, not everyone learns best by reading a dense textbook. So this is all about presenting the same information in a bunch of different ways. A teacher could use a short video, a cool infographic, an audio clip, and a traditional article to teach about the same exact historical event. This way, it doesn't matter if you're a visual learner, an auditory learner, or anything in between, you've got a way in to understand the material.
And finally, action and expression. This is the how of learning, and it supports our strategic networks. This one is all about giving students flexible ways to show you what they've learned. A high-stress, timed essay isn't the only way to figure out what a student knows. UDL is brilliant here because it separates the skill you're testing from the format. So, if your goal is to see if a student can analyze a novel, let them do it by writing a paper, or by creating a detailed mind map,
or even by acting out a scene that shows their unique interpretation. The focus is on the knowledge, not on forcing everyone into one single box.
So when you put all these principles together, the goal becomes crystal clear. It's about creating an environment where the barriers to learning are taken down before a student ever even runs into them.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? UDL is not about making fixes after something is already broken. It's about smart, thoughtful, proactive design that expects and embraces the fact that all learners are different. It's about building the ramp before anyone even has to ask for it.
And that is the ultimate takeaway here. This whole thing isn't just about helping students with documented disabilities, it's about creating a richer, more flexible, and flat-out, more effective learning environment for everybody. Because when you design for the students at the edges, you always improve the experience for everyone in the middle.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. That ramp is such a simple, elegant solution in the physical world. Just imagine, what would it look like if every single lesson, every assignment, and every classroom was designed with that exact same spirit of universal access? That is the incredible potential of UDL.